Hello, and welcome to this short presentation on describing graphs, analysis, and evaluation. So today I'll discuss these key points: a definition of graphical analysis and evaluation, the language associated with analysis and evaluation. I'll provide an example and then a practice exercise for you. So just before we begin, there is a worksheet that accompanies this video. So I suggest you pause this slide and download it now. The link is in the description below. Okay, let's begin with a basic definition. Analysis is identifying the key highs and lows on a graph, and evaluation is the reasons why there are highs and lows on a graph. To help understand this, we'll start with a couple of really simple exercises. So let's look at this graph. Begin by describing the highs and lows, and then make some suggestions on what you think the product could be and why. So pause the slide and do this exercise. Okay, here come the answers. Firstly, as you identify the highs and lows, you can easily see that the sales have peaked in mid-February, again in April, and again in December. Now let's evaluate. What is the reason for these sales and what could the product be? The product is actually flower sales. And the main reason for this is the high in February suggests Valentine's Day, and in April is Easter celebration, and of course many people buy flowers for Christmas. Great. Now we'll try another one. The same as before, begin by describing the highs and the lows, and then make some suggestions on what the product could be and why. Pause the slide and do this exercise. Okay, here come the answers. Firstly, as you identify the main highs, you can easily see that sales have peaked, mainly in the summer months of June, July, and August. This suggests it's a product connected to the hotter months. However, also you may notice that the sales are quite constant throughout the year, so ideas of sunglasses or sun cream are possibly incorrect. The actual answer is ice cream. Right, so that was the basics of analysis and evaluation. But just before we go any further, we have made another video on describing graphs, the basics. This video will give you information on labeling graphs, language for describing graphs, and graphical verb collocations. You need to know this for the next part of this video. The link is on the screen, but also in the description below. So if you're not completely sure how to describe a graph correctly, then watch this video first. So, when we analyze and evaluate a graph, we tend to follow a basic procedure of describe the graph, then identify the important points of graphical data, and then suggest the reasons why. We do this through language. Okay, so this slide shows description language phrases, and the key language here is describing the source and the title, describing axes, and describing what the lines represent. The next slide shows analysis phrases. The key language here is giving an overview, identifying specific points on the graph, and highlighting significant areas. The final phrases slide shows evaluation phrases. Key language here is making suggestions, providing reasons, and giving an overall conclusion. Okay, so let's use these phrases with a slightly more sophisticated example. Here is a graph from the Office for National Statistics on UK GDP growth. So using the language we have just looked at, I'd like you to analyse and evaluate it. Here on this slide are a variety of language phrases to help you write it. Use these sentence starters to write a description, an analysis, and an evaluation of the graph. Pause the slide and do this exercise. Okay, here are some possible answers. The graph from the Office for National Statistics 2016 shows GDP growth in the UK over the years of 1990 to 2015. The y-axis is the percentage of growth, while the x-axis is the individual 15 years. Overall, GDP has remained reasonably stable from 1993 to 2007, and again in 2013 to 2015, within the 2 to 4% range. I'd like to focus your attention on two key significant areas. The first one is in 1991, where, as you can see, GDP fell to -1 and then dramatically soared to 4% within 2 years. This was possibly because of the UK suffering a small recession caused from high interest rates and limited availability of credit. The government lowered the interest rates shortly after this, and this would explain the sudden rise in 1992. The second interesting point is the sudden drop in GDP in 2007 to reach an all-time low of -4% in 2009. This is clearly due to the 2007 and 8 global financial crash, where many countries suffered what is now being called the Great Recession. It is interesting to note that the government implemented a number of stimulus packages, and this has had a positive effect on the economy with a rise to 2% GDP in 2013, following similar levels before the crash. A future prediction is that there is a possibility that with such uncertainty in the world financial markets, that another financial crisis is possible within the next 10 years. I have obviously had to do some research on the internet to identify some of the key facts, like the 1991 recession and the 2007 term, the Great Recession. I've obviously also investigated interest rate rises and stimulus packages. And this is a big part of the investigation into creating a good evaluation. Okay, so now we'll do a practice exercise. This is again from the Office for National Statistics and focuses on UK crime rates from 1983 to 2018. Using the same set of phrases as before, analyze and evaluate this graph. Pause the slide and do the exercise. Okay, I'm not going to provide detailed written answers, but generally you should have noted the peak in 1995 and the general reduction in crime since then to an all-time low in 2018. Possible reasons for this would be much better security systems, more CCTV cameras, more police officers, a focus of government policy to reduce crime, better methods of reporting crime, and of course, social media. Any of your answers are also possibly justifiable. Okay, so that's all for today, I'm afraid. This was only a small part of the lesson on describing graphs, analysis, and evaluation. So if you'd like more practice exercises or the whole lesson, then please go here to Academic English/graphs. Of course, if you want more information on all areas of describing graphical data, then go here. Thank you for watching, and until next time, bye.